Hello everyone, my name is Kenton Kavestiu. I'm an ex-Googler, an ex-BCG consultant, and the founder of Rocketblocks, an online platform that helps candidates prepare for interviews. In today's Rocketblocks mini lesson, we're doing part 2 in the series of Product Management Interviews 101. And what we covered in the first part was really two key things. The first was, what are the sources of variability? What are the drivers of variability in product management interviews? Because they are pretty different company to company. And then we looked at the second key thing, which is what are the different flavors of product management interviews kind of stylistically. So because there's a lot more variance than management consulting interviews, we want to try and kind of categorize the types of interviews we might face in the product management interview process. So if you haven't watched that already, I would recommend watching it now. We've put the link down in the comments below so you can watch that. You can pause this video and go check it out. If you've already watched that, what we're going to do in this video is talk about the underlying skill sets that are being tested in product management interviews. And specifically, there's 5 key ones that we want to look at. So let's go ahead and jump into this. The skill sets that are being tested. So let's talk about the underlying skill sets. And you might think, well, we just talked about how the variance from company to company is really different. There's all these different formats for interviews for product managers. So is there even an underlying skill set? And the good news is the answer is yes. Over the last year, I've interviewed over 80 product managers that work at places like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Facebook, Stripe, Airbnb, Uber, Lyft. Basically, like you name it, I've probably talked to someone at that company that's a product manager. And specifically, the intent was to understand what skills are you looking for when you hire other product managers. And the good news is that regardless of how they end up testing for those skills in interviews, or their stylistic differences or the format of interviews, there is a true kind of underlying skill set that most product managers are looking for. And so I want to talk about those 5 skills now. And in later video, we'll do kind of like a deep dive on each of them, but I want to introduce them now. So the first is product sense and product strategy. Basically, what people are looking for is that candidates demonstrate an understanding of how to think about user pain points, customer needs, and how to translate those needs into an actual product. Like, what would it look like? What would it feel like? How would that product connect and push forward the overall company strategy? So that's the first one. The second skill set is analytical ability. Can someone sit down and say, look at a user funnel and diagnose maybe where things are going wrong in the sign-up flow for a product? Or can they look at the results of an experiment and understand, okay, we did this experiment, we tested these 3 versions, and here's the clear conclusions about what we should do next based off this set of data. They want people that have an analytical mindset and are very comfortable applying it to the type of analytical scenarios that you'll face in a product management organization, or maybe troubleshooting, why a particular metric's going down, etc. So that's the second skill set. The third skill set is technical ability. Again, this will vary pretty significantly depending on the type of role you're applying for. If it's a PM position, managing a set of APIs, they're going to need someone really, really technical. If it's a PM on, a consumer app where understanding of the users and the product needs, et cetera, is more important, they might be looking for a lower bar there. But regardless, every product management position needs some ability of kind of technical fluency to be able to work with engineers to get a product out into the wild and to maintain it and to grow it, et cetera. And so technical ability, to some extent, companies are always looking for. It just varies on how much they really need for different product managers. And again, as we talked about at the very beginning, different companies have different styles. Google likes really technical product managers. Other companies are less concerned about that. Okay. Fourth skill, incredibly important, is communication. Product management is a very cross-functional job. As we talked about earlier, you're going to be working with engineers, designers, customer support leads, executives, you name it. And so communication and your ability to clearly communicate goals, updates, progress to the team and the different stakeholders is critical. And importantly, you need to be able to communicate just as effectively to the executives as you do the lower ranking team members that you might be working with. So communication, incredibly important. The fifth skill that I want to talk about is design, like design sense, really kind of understanding how a product should look and feel. Again, different companies will have different perspectives on how good a PM candidate needs to be at this. More consumer-facing apps here like someone with better kind of design sense and good eye for that, because it matters a lot for a consumer product. For enterprise businesses, the actual user design, the look and feel of the product might matter a little less, and therefore in interviews, those companies might test that skill a little bit less. But that's the fifth thing. Then underlying all of this, I don't want to call it a skill set, but all of these companies are looking for people that demonstrate good, genuine leadership skills. So that is the skill set that companies are looking for. As we talked about in the first part of this video, how they actually test for those skills, the format of the interviews they use, the different kind of stylistic differences, the amount of product specific knowledge to their company they expect you to have is all a little bit different, but underlying that, they are all generally looking for the same set of skills. So that's the good news. If you focus on the underlying skills, you'll have a real leg up regardless of what product management interview you are going into. Okay, so the key message I would leave you with if you're just getting started thinking about product management and going through product management interviews is, given the situation you face where there's a lot of variance from company to company and the format can be slightly different, taking an approach where you focus on the underlying skills that are going to be tested and in your mind are ready to kind of be nimble and be flexible with how they actually get tested in the interview is going to be a helpful approach. Because if you focus on the skills and get those down, then no matter of whether it kind of gets tested in a full-length product case or whether it's a series of questions or it's like a deep cross-functional interview experience, you should be ready to kind of demonstrate that you have the right requisite skills and abilities for that role. So thank you so much for watching. We've got a ton of great content coming out on both the consulting and the product management interview processes in the coming weeks. So if you haven't subscribed yet already, please do so now. There is a big red button below, and we look forward to seeing you in the future. Have a great day.